Okay, this is practice number 16. This is dated 24/02/04. This model is pretty basic for IronCAD. It basically consists of a box, or sorry, a block on the bottom, on the top, and a cylinder, and then we have a cutout, which is a cylinder, and a extrude that's on that cylinder. So we will go ahead and show you how this is done in IronCAD, and we'll go ahead and get started. So let's move this over to the other screen. I use this, keep on the other side so I have a reference for these dimensions. So I'm going to start out with the basic overall size of this model. So we know the overall size of this is 165 in length, and it's 85 on this base width, and we have a height of 12 on this guy. So we can come up here and click on this guy. So there's 12 for that. So that gives us our base element inside of here. Next, we're going to have to do our cylinders here, and we need to know like the distance where these things go. So one way to do this is we can start with an extrude cut, and we can drop it on this face here. So one thing I do want to do is make sure it's cutting upwards here. So we'll go ahead and cut this one this way. And we know the width of this guy is 15 inside of here, and we know this depth from a point here is actually going to be just a calculation, essentially. So if we go ahead and edit this distance, we can edit it here or do an edit distance from point. We would like to do this here. So what we're going to do is it's going to be the overall 165 minus 108 from the drawing. So that's going to give us where it is on both sides, and we're just going to divide that by 2. That's going to give us our location for that. So it's 28.5 for that. So that's where that location is going to be. And then we can just drop a cylinder cut on this and snap it to our diameter to give our shape. So that's one way to build that particular shape. And now we have to also build this kind of an offset rib on top of this. So to do that, we can just use our extrude command inside of here, and we'll pick this, and we'll actually just draw a new 2D profile and just place it on here. It doesn't really matter where it's at in our case, but we're just going to place it there. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually project these curves here. We're going to project these 3 curves here, and then we're going to select all of them. Just double click on them to get all those, and we offset that. We're going to offset at a value of 5, hit OK, and then we can draw our 2-point line here and here and there to close it. And we've got essentially our rib, which is a 3mm extrusion, and hit OK. So that's basic shape for that. So we want to make a copy of the other side. So we're going to select our block, our cylinder, and our rib. Turn our tribal on, snap it to the midpoint of the edge. We can hold the shift key down and select the edge, and it'll get to the center point there. And then we can turn it real, mirror, and link it to the other side. So that gives the basis for that shape. Next, we're going to drop an extrusion on our center point of this guy, and we're going to right click and drag so we can do symmetrical. This overall length is 90 in this direction. In this case, we're going to set this width value here, which is set at 65 for the overall of that. Okay, and then the height of this is actually 25 from the bottom of this edge here. So what we want to do is just set the height of that, or really doesn't matter, we're going to cut it off anyways, but we can just go ahead and set the height of that from there. We can say edit distance from point, select here, and that's going to be 25 inside of there. So that's our starting point. Next, we're going to draw our cylinder. We're going to extrude it through this particular part and move it out here. And the diameter of this thing is actually 100. So it's got a radius of 50, so it's got a diameter 100 inside of here. And I'm just going to use a tribal to pull it up so I can get to that bottom tangency here of this guy. So I got the bottom tangency. I can use the tribal and snap it down here to the tangency value. And now we can edit the distance from the bottom of our part, which we can do edit distance from point, which from the bottom, this needs to be 16 millimeters up from there. So that kind of gives us our basic shape there. So it gives us our cut here and gives us this value as well. So that gives us our shape for that. Next, we need to put our cylinders here so we can do a through shape, where we can draw them and then pull them through either way. So I'm just going to do a through cylinder here, and that's got a diameter of 5 for that, and it's got a location for this. So we're going to use a tribal. We know where this is placed is actually going to be an offset from the center here. So we just go basically lock this axis, and we can say from center point, we can select the center point here, and that's going to say it's going to be 55 by 2. We can do math in there, so I don't have to do any calculation there. And then we can just drag right click, drag, link this over at a value of 55, and that will put our two cylinders inside of here. And if you get a face issue there, that's usually just, in our case, is usually just something with our rendering here. So we can just adjust these a little bit, maybe just to give a different facet. There we go, to get that to snap correctly. So now we have that shape there. Next, we just need to add some blends on this part. So the first ones we'll just add on these outside edges here. So we'll blend these. These have a value of 10 millimeters on those. So we'll select all four corners here for that to create those. Next, we want to blend this, so we can select these edges here and hit blend edges. And those are going to have a radius of 2 for that. And we can do that on the other one as well to create that and hit OK. And we now have our shape here. Basically, that's everything that's involved in this particular model. So if we look at this, it should be about 1550 inside of there if you round it up, and with the 7800 mass density. So that gives you the part for this exercise. Fairly easy to do in IronCAD.